MVP race, we gave our top 6. This other players in the Defensive Player of the Year race, Trevon Diggs, and right now he's having a tremendous season. Rivers laughing over here because he was hating on my guy Trevon Diggs.
What were you thinking?
He was hating on a young boy.
I was hating?
I'm asking. Were you?
No. I said, go ahead.
You said that he couldn't hold a lighter to Marcus Peters.
Okay. You believe I said that? No, wait. Does that even sound like how I speak?
You like Marcus Peters a
I said,
lot.
I love it. No, but I said, because he said, they were talking about Trevon Diggs' interceptions. They was like, he has a lot of interceptions. So I said, okay. So why were people calling Marcus Peters a ball hawk his rookie year when he had hella interceptions?
I always said he was a ball hawk.
But I'm saying 2015 when he was actually guarding, guarding wide receivers and he was locking them down.
Is Trevon Diggs not guarding wide receivers?
Yeah, but he got cooked by DJ Moore and Kadarius Toney put him in a blender.
Kadarius Toney had one catch on him, bro.
That being said, MP, people don't like him because of his personality.
Oh, that's respectful. All I said was 2015. His rookie year was, you can compare.
That was the most interceptions he's ever had.
8.
8?
8.
Trevon Diggs has 6.
He might not get 2. He might not get 8 for the rest of the season. Nah, he might not. He legit might.
The reason why he might not is because people should not target him.
Let me ask you a question. Xavier Howard led the league in interceptions last year, right?
Xavier Howard, yep.
Xavier, he led the league in interceptions last year, right? 10.
Right?
Did you consider him an elite corner?
He was a top 5. Yeah, he was top 5 corner.
Do you still consider him an elite corner now?
He's top 10.
Question. That's a great question.
I think he's top 10.
Now, question. Now, to backtrack off his question, how many elite corners are there in the NFL? In my opinion, there might be 3.
Jalen Ramsey,
Jair,
Jalen,
Lattimore.
Marshawn Lattimore.
Is Tre'Davious White elite still?
I think Trey White has fell off, but he's still top 10.
I agree, but would you say elite? Because this is the question.
I don't think he's elite.
I scrutinize this question a lot.
I think Darius Slay, he's playing like it this year.
He is. I'll give you that.
He locked up DJ Moore.
He did.
Yeah, he did. He did. Not the other guy.
Okay,
he did
but
that.
let me just read you.
Go ahead. Yes.
Let me just read you this, right?
Please.
What are you gonna read?
Trevon Diggs this year.
I know what you're gonna read.
Nah, he's
I'm gonna give you both sides of the story because I'm gonna ask a different question than what I was initially gonna ask you guys. Trevon Diggs has the most coverage snaps without allowing a touchdown this season, 205. Lowest passer rating allowed this season at 38.9. Spiking the ball every play would result in a 39.6 quarterback rating. He has defended 145 routes this year, 10th in the NFL, 4 pass breakups, 4th in the NFL, 6 interceptions, 1st in the NFL, first time it's ever happened in this amount of games, but he also leads cornerbacks in penalties and has allowed the 4th most yards of any corner this season. So this is the question I'm going to ask you guys right here. Are you trading Trevon Diggs good but not great coverage for his ability to create turnovers and give possessions back to the offense?
I think he's literally...
That's an excellent question, dude.
And this is why I brought him up, because I think that's literally like what Marcus Peters used to do. He played aggressive, and he gave it up a lot of times to get turnovers. I would rather want that because they're game changers. You know, a turnover is such a big game changer. And sometimes you need those turnovers, especially for Dallas, a team who doesn't cause a lot of turnovers. You need a guy who creates a lot of turnovers because it gives your offense the ball back. I would prefer a guy who, creates turnovers, in my opinion.
I couldn't say it better, truthfully, especially when you're playing on Dallas, whose offense is as effective as it is. You just give them 1 to 2 more opportunities per game. That's really all the difference that you really need, in at least in Dallas' situation.
I think I'm kind of stuck in the middle. It's just because I'm a longtime Jets fan, and I've just seen Darrell Revis
that's fair. It's fair.
No, we've seen Darrell Revis take one side of the field completely out.
Off.
A decade ago. We don't care about that.
No, you don't care about Darrell Revis?
I don't care about it no more.
Easy, bro.
A top 5 corner of all time?
Yeah, crazy.
He's arguably, you could debate he's one. You could debate he's one.
Nah, not over Deion.
It's debatable.
As a man-to-man, in terms of man-to-man, yes, you could definitely debate that. 100%. Then he had in 09, I know it's a long time ago, now he had the greatest cornerback season ever, right? Yeah,
yes.
No, he was ridiculous.
Moss twice, T.O. Just look at that.
Talking out legend.
On the Jets.
Come on,
no,
bro.
but I'm not here to talk about. I'm not here to turn this into a Jets.
Oh, okay. I just wanted to make that clear.
I was using that as an example.
Yeah. But I see.
As a fan, from what I've seen, I would rather have a corner who can shut down the best receiver and take away that side of the field. And in his prime, just as an example, Reeves was so good that there was a point in time where quarterbacks weren't even really looking to the side of his field. And I think if you can shut down, and another good thing about him, he traveled too. He would go from left to right. So if you could take away the best receiver and shut down the side of the field, and I think that's more valuable than getting burned and getting interceptions back, like a Marcus Peters. I'd rather have a Darrell Revis, a Jalen Ramsey type.
Does that really help though when you're playing a team like, example, the Chiefs last year or the Bills, where you may be able to take their number one away, but they have guys who have number two, they have a number three, and number
but
four.
the thing is,
if I could have Darrell on Tyreek and he's gone for the entire game, I would much rather.
But see,
that.
we're talking about Darrell. We're talking about Trevon Diggs.
This is where my example kind of falters.
No, we're just talking about the argument of this.
I'm saying like
that's a good question.
nobody's a Darrell Revis right now.
Jalen Ramsey's the closest thing.
He's the closest. Even then, you
straps,
have him correct. Like even in the perfect example, Rams and Cardinals. You had him. He played amazing defense on DeAndre Hopkins. But then you let guys like AJ Green score. Then Rondell Moore. Like, does that lockdown really matter when you have multiple guys?
The thing that falters my debate was that the Jets during that time they had Darrell Reeves, but they also had another very good corner.
That's what it
gets. So I don't know. Look, personally,
they love to bring that up.
Personally,
let him have it.
Personally, I mean, look, I'm always the guy that I want my corner to take the side of the field away, follow the best receiver, and shut him down.
You've never had a defense like that, bro. You don't know what it feels like.
I have a Super Bowl.
I ain't gonna lie. Y'all thought y'all had it with Nnamdi Asomugha, but that was very bad.
You had that. You had no Super Bowl. We have a Super Bowl.
You had one ring.
I saw it.
Okay.
I vividly saw that ring.
All right, one ring, bro. Okay.
Let's just talk about our defense for a second.
Oh, here we go. Going
Darrell
into Jets
Revis,
talk.
Antonio Cromartie, Lito Shepard.
Yeah, I remember
Kyle
that.
Wilson was an okay slot. Jim Leonard,
Rhodes.
bro.
Leonard
David
underappreciated, bro.
Jim Leonard was nice.
Yo, David Harrison, Bart Scott.
Bro,
Our team was good, but like we're reminiscing.
Who was our other safety? Our other safety was nice as hell. It was Jim Leonard.
I know it was Kerry Rhodes.
Kerry Rhodes was nice. I don't think that was with Darrell.
They're not hating. They're just appreciating what they
No, but
have.
I was just using it as an example. But then like that question kind of made me falter because we had Antonio Cromartie, who was also another very good corner on the other side. A lot of teams don't have that luxury.
I think
So
the best guess I can give it is New England.
I was gonna
Stephon
say-
Gilmore, when he won his DPOY, had Jonathan Jones and he had J.C.
That
Jackson.
year was Darrell Revis-esque that year. Like in terms
he
of
had
like,
two
everything,
guys,
locking people
and
down.
he had Devin
everything.
McCourty, so he had help on all sides of the field. So I think that's the best. You know, when you have help, obviously you want that lockdown. But I feel like for a guy like Trevon Diggs, he has to kind of be that because he doesn't have much help. And there's other guys on the field. Like he's playing teams with multiple receivers, like the Chargers. Like you can lock up Keenan Allen, but Mike Wills can go up for 150.
Ultimately, what you're saying is that you'd rather Trevon Diggs in a lockdown, shutdown corner because teams have multiple receivers that can hurt you anyway.
Yeah, I prefer the guy who causes a lot of turnovers. So I prefer the Marcus Peters, the Trevon Diggs, the Xavier Howards.
Are we taking into account that this guy? How many penalties has he had called against him? So you're willing to take all the touchdowns over him, all the penalties for a couple turnovers, rather than shut him.
What number was he penalties?
He was the fourth most in the league. No, I think he's the most penalized. He's the most penalized cornerback.
PFF has him rated a 69. That is egregious.
Well, this is just him against certain matchups. Against Mike Evans, 1 reception, 10 yards.
Did his thing.
Against Keenan Allen,
Mike Evans.
Against Keenan Allen, 4 receptions, 85 yards. Against Devontae Smith, 2 receptions, 43 yards.
He had him in hell.
Against
Josh
DJ
Norman
Moore,
had him in hell.
DJ Moore, 2 receptions, 69 yards. Kenny Galladay, zip.
Nah, but
Kadarius Toney, 1 reception, 35 yards.
Yo,
he had 200 yards receiving that game, bro. Kadarius Toney,
150. Yes,
nah, bro.
Yeah,
he had
but
more than that.
it wasn't on Diggs though, bro. That's what I'm trying to say.
I would prefer the turnover guy.
I don't know. I like lockdown.
But Diggs is on pace to allow 1,119 yards this season, which is the most since 2007.
What do you prefer?
All right, so that's pretty.
Hold up, it depends because I think this question is really, we're basically describing like a Jalen Ramsey, right?
But that's what I'm saying.
Or let's just say this.
I close my eyes and take James.
Let's just talk about this because I think this is a better question because he's not as great as Jalen Ramsey, but he's still an elite corner. Marshawn Lattimore, Trevon Diggs. Who would you rather have?
Marshawn Lattimore.
That's easy. Marshawn
Lattimore.
Lattimore.
Yeah.
So where does Trevon Diggs rank?
So why I say this is that's another reason why I started my statement with how many elite corners are there really? But
look, Ramsey
for sure,
Jairi
for sure,
Lattimore
for sure. That's it.
I think Jalen Johnson is creeping into that category though.
If Trey is creeping in, then obviously I agree.
And
Jalen
I think the guys behind them are like Slay, Humphrey, Johnson, White, Ward, Xavier.
But would you agree? So the original question was amongst elite corners. There's 3 firm fact elite corners.
I think Diggs is the fourth best corner in football right now.
Would you rather? So then basically, like Jalen Johnson and Trevon Diggs are a perfect example because they're both in the same year, two different type of corners. Jalen Johnson's a man-to-man cover, one-on-one, take your guy. Trevon takes a little bit more gambles. Who would you rather have to start your team just in the cornerback room?
I'd rather have Trevon Diggs easily.
I would think I would take Trevon Diggs.
What was the question again?
Trevon Diggs or Jalen Johnson from Chicago.
The thing is that
I'd rather have Diggs
Trayvon's
before Slide.
I want Diggs.
Yeah.
the turnovers are huge, especially for Dallas. It's pretty situational in this term. In this sense, excuse me, because obviously the Bears' offense stinks. So if he's going to take away the number one guy on the opposite team, then obviously it's not really impacting the offense too much.
I think unless you're a legendary lockdown, you take the turnover guy. Like Jalen Ramsey's on a different spectrum.
But it's not like
lockdown.
Trayvon's really getting cooked. He's not getting.
That's what I'm saying.
He's not.
He's not getting cooked, and not to mention
like
he's
Marcus
causing
Peters
turnovers.
did.
Marcus, stop.
Marcus Peters used to get exposed.
Not
He used
exposed.
To.
He used to-
Sometimes.
he
Well,
used
his stay with the Rams, it was bad. In my opinion.
Oh yeah, the Rams, but
the
still with the Ravens has been great.
With the
And
Rams,
then
did
the
he make the
Chiefs-
Super
He has a
Bowl?
lot of help with the Ravens, though, kind of like what you mentioned with the Pats.
Yeah, but the
Stephon
Chiefs didn't
Stephon
have a lot of
Gilmore is
help.
a great corner, but they also help him a lot by having a safety over the top to make sure he doesn't get burnt. Darrell Reeves didn't have that. Darrell Reeves,
He's a
it'll be
different
cover
beast.
zero, lock,
No,
man
no,
to
for
man.
real.
He's a
Like,
different
it was
beast. That's
ridiculous.
what I'm saying. That's why I would take. There's not many Darrell Reeves, Deion Sanders, Jalen Ramsey in the world.
These are my
Very
top
tough.
10 corners in football right now. Jalen Ramsey, Jaire Alexander, Marshawn Lattimore, Trayvon Diggs, Darius Slay, Marlon Humphrey, Jalen Johnson, Tre'Davious White, Denzel Ward, Xavier Howard. This is for this season.
I like Slay over Diggs personally. That's biased.
I wouldn't take Slay over Diggs right now.
Let me hear 8, 9, 10.
I like Ward
Trey
too.
White,
Ward tough.
Ward, and Xavier.
And you have Jalen Johnson in there too?
I have Jalen Johnson as
Over
7.
Xavier?
Yes.
Xavier 10's low.
Xavier has been
I
shaky this
agree,
year.
but the Dolphins just aren't good. You know what I'm saying? It's
Jalen
tough.
for example, like this is a great example too. Byron Jones on Dallas was a guy who was a great man-to-man corner,
cause
but
any turnovers.
it didn't cause any turnovers. I think Dallas would much rather Trayvon
And he was
Diggs
perfect
than
for
Byron
Miami
Jones.
with pairing up with Howard. Howard causes the turnovers. Byron locks down the other end. It's perfect.
And they suck now.
He's
Yeah,
still,
they've been the Dolphins as a whole.
Disappointment.
Yeah, for real, bro.
All